Hi everyone, welcome back to Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Today I need your help to pick my February TBR. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Alice and I have way too many books. And if you've been watching my channel lately, you'll know that I am currently in the midst of a 30 book read what you own challenge, and I'm trying to read 30 books I own or DNF them before I buy any new books. We're not here for an update on how that's going, we're here to pick my February TBR. I actually, for a change, do not seem to have planned too much in February. I have a Killer Reads Thriller Month book to read. I have, I think, one buddy read, provided I don't get selected to judge the Booktube prize. It would be a very unplanned reading month at the moment. But if I do get picked to judge the Booktube prize, obviously that will add another 6 books to my TBR. So my TBR is work in progress at the moment, and I thought that today I would shamelessly borrow an idea that I absolutely love watching and participating in over on Nikki's channel, Red.Reads. Nikki asks her subscribers every month to choose a book for her to read that month. And I think this is a great idea, and I thought that it was high time I let all of you have a say on what I'm going to read in February. So to make it easier, I thought I would pick out 5 books, tell you all about them, and you can tell me in the comments or in a vote on my community tab which one you want me to read. The one with the most votes will go onto my TBR, and it will be featured in my TBR video in 1 week's time. Let's talk about the options. So to pick the options, I thought I would use my TBR tin. And if you haven't heard of my TBR tin before, in here I have put all of the books that were on my giant TBR on January the 1st, 2010. Yes, I've had some of the books on my shelf for 13 years now, so I need to be getting through these, I really do. So I've decided to pick 3 from the TBR tin, and to balance it out I've picked 2 relatively recently acquired books. So let's draw out some choices from the tin so that I can pick them off the shelves and tell you about them. So I folded these up even smaller this year so that I can't really see them, and there is a mix of non-fiction, fiction. There's quite a few crime and thrillers in here, so we will see what we get. So let me try and pick 3 books out of here. 1, 2 and 3. So we have The Complaints, that's by Ian Rankin. We have Losing You by Nikki French, very thriller heavy at the moment. And we have One Day in the Life of Ian Denisovich. So I'm just going to get those 3 off the shelves and I will tell you about them. So 3 very different sizes of books. Very different. So I'll tell you about all of these 5 and you can tell me which ones to read. Ian Rankin is most famous for his Inspector Rebus series, and I absolutely love those books, love his writing style. I believe I actually borrowed this from my dad and never gave it back, so sorry Dad, maybe I will actually give it back to you one day. This has got a different main character and a different department in the police, and there are, I believe, 2 books directly about this. And one of the characters does turn up later in the Rebus series. The Complaints is the department of the police where they investigate other cops. Bit of a Line of Duty vibe, which was a TV show I absolutely loved. The blurb on The Complaints says, "Nobody likes the Complaints. They're the cops who investigate other cops. Complaints and Conduct Department to give them their full title, but known colloquially as the Dark Side or simply the Complaints. It's where Malcolm Fox works. He's just had a result and should be feeling good about himself, but he's a man with problems of his own. He has an increasingly frail father in a care home, and a sister who persists in an abusive relationship, something which Malcolm cannot seem to do anything about. But in the middle of an aggressive Edinburgh winter, the reluctant Fox is given a new task: There's a cop called Jamie Breck and he's dirty. The problem is, no one can prove it. But as Fox takes on the job, he learns there's more to Beck than anyone thinks. This knowledge will prove dangerous, especially when a vicious murder intervenes far too close to home for Fox's liking. Yeah, I always enjoy Ian Rankin's writing style, and so that is option number 1 to vote for. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to read that one. It will be definitely a sort of police procedural one. So the first one, that is a newer book, is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen. I don't really know anything about Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead. I won this in a giveaway on Instagram, which I believe was run by the Women's Prize for Fiction. So I was very pleased to get a copy of this, and the blurb reads like this. Gilda, a 20-something atheist, animal-loving lesbian, cannot stop ruminating about death. Desperate for relief from her panicky mind, she responds to a leaflet for free therapy at a local Catholic church and finds herself being greeted by Father Jeff, who assumes she's there for a job interview. Too embarrassed to correct him, Gilda is abruptly hired to replace the recently deceased receptionist, Grace. In between trying to memorise the lines to Catholic Mass and hiding the fact that she has a new girlfriend, Gilda strikes up an email correspondence with a kindly old friend of Grace's who is trying to reach her through the church inbox. Unable to bring herself to break the bad news, Gilda begins impersonating Grace via email instead. But when the police discovered suspicious circumstances surrounding Grace's death, Gilda may have to finally reveal the truth of her mortifying existence. So that is option number 2, Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen. On to another one picked from the tin, we have Losing You by Nikki French. This was a book I really want to get to this year, and it's all about Nina Landry, who loses her teenage daughter. This is a book that's kind of taking place in real time, so I know I'm comparing to TV series today, but I think of it a bit like the TV series 24. So it's over the space of 24 hours, it's happening in sort of real time. Let's see what the blurb says about Losing You by Nikki French. Nina Landry has given up city life for the isolated community of Sandling Island, lying off the bleak east coast of England. At night the wind howls, and sometimes they are cut off by the incoming tide. For Nina, though, it is home, it is safe. But when Nina's teenage daughter, Charlie, fails to return from a sleepover on the day they're due to go on holiday, the island becomes a different place altogether. A place of secrets and suspicions, where no one, friends, neighbours or the police, believes Nina's instinctive fear that her daughter is in terrible danger. Alone, she undergoes a frantic search for Charlie, and as day turns to night, she begins to doubt not just whether they'll leave the island for their holiday, but whether they will ever leave it again. So this sounds like a typical Nikki French psychological thriller offering, and I would be very happy if this came up. This is option number 3. The next one that I picked that was a more recent acquisition is Flesh and Blood, a D.I. Amy Winter thriller by Caroline Mitchell. I was kindly sent this by the author, who ran a giveaway on Twitter in 2021 for this book, so yeah, and I haven't got to it yet, shamefully. This is on my list of 23 thrillers I want to read in 2023. This is about a wave of apparent suicides that hits a seaside town, and D.I. Amy Winter, the main character, suspects that there may be more to it. And the blurb on Flesh and Blood says this: a string of suicides, a community in terror, and a chilling conspiracy only D.I. Amy Winter can crack. A wave of apparent suicides hits a string of seaside resorts, but when a police officer is named as the latest to die, D.I. Amy Winter suspects there may be more than mere coincidence to these tragic deaths. But what dark motive could cause someone to throw themselves into the cold depths of the North Sea? Someone in the community knows more than they are letting on, but Amy's questions are met with resistance. A group of mysterious teenagers might hold the key, but why are they so afraid to talk? In her toughest investigation yet, Amy must confront her dark past if she is to put an end to the carnage. What secret is so terrible that it's worth killing a police officer for? Amy needs to find the answer before the sea washes up any more bodies. So I haven't read anything from the D.I. Amy Winter series yet, but if you would like to vote for it, it is option number 4. Final pick out of the TBR tin is probably the most different one, and it's One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. I don't really know what this is about. So this is only like 142 pages. This has been translated by Ralph Parker. The blurb of One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich doesn't give an awful lot away, but let's read it. This crisp, shattering glimpse of the fate of millions of Russians under Stalin shook Russia and shocked the world when it first appeared. Khrushchev himself, during the Russian thaw, is said to have authorised the publication of this spare, stark description of life in a Siberian labour camp. And there's several quotes on the back, one of which is a masterpiece in the great Russian tradition. That's from New Statesman. And at the time said, like Dostoevsky's work, Solzhenitsyn's story is also a major artistic accomplishment. As I say, I don't know an awful lot about this one, but it's a very short one, and this is option number 5. If you'd like to vote for that book, let me know in the comments. So those were the 5 books that you can pick from to add to my TBR for February. We have One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich, Flesh and Blood, Losing You, Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead, and The Complaints. So let me know which one you're voting for in the comments down below, or wait and see the poll on my community tab and vote there. But I will be making my TBR video in probably 1 week's time, so there's 1 week to vote. I'd love to hear from you what your reasons are for making the choice that you've made. The one with the most votes I will definitely read, the one with the second most votes I may read. If you've enjoyed this video today, please do give it a like. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. And as I've said, comment down below to let me know your choice for February. And I do hope very much to see you all again soon for another video all about books here on Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Bye for now.